Move on to my part. Let me share my screen first before I move on. Let me see. Here we go. So make sure everyone you can see my screen. And also, let me open chat. So if anyone asks a question, I can see what's going on. All right. Very good. Okay, so let's get started now, everyone. So today's topic is what matters in college applications. So before I start, I believe we'll have enough time to go through this presentation, and also I might have some time left for Q&A a little bit later. So yeah, this is what I've been doing ever since 2010, counseling high school students in their college application process. And this process starts in ninth grade because whatever you begin to do, whatever you do in high school years counts in the college application process. So whatever you have accomplished in middle school, elementary school, so and so, yeah, they don't count. Okay, so that's why I always say that I start to help the students at the beginning of ninth grade. By the way, so this is the the result from my students in this round from year 2023 to year 2024. And I have only included the students' performances with according to those top colleges with a acceptance rate that is 10% or below. Okay, so that's why you see like especially those ones like a 3 Harvard, 5 Cornell, 3 Massachusetts, 3 MIT, 4 Yale, and Princeton 3, and most surprisingly this year like a 5 Stanford. I was just like what, I'm just a one-man band. So yeah, many times the parents ask me, what's the difference between you and other college counselor? I said I don't know because I don't know them. But I do know what I do know is that I'm the only one who takes care of your child from the beginning to the end. So that's why consistency is good. That's what I do. Anyway, so I just don't want to dwell on this. Today's topic is what matters in college applications. Okay, so many times people will just give you a PowerPoint and point one, point two, point three, whatever, many slides. I done this kind of thing before, but let me just cut to the chase. Okay, I don't want to spend time on that. So let's just read a Common App essay together. Okay, and this is a live session. It's not like a recording. I know like in the future, other people will watch this as a recording. So it's an interactive session. I have made my chat room open. So if you have any question, please ask at any time. And I want you to interact with me too. I will ask you questions too. Okay. So yeah, please do. All right. So let's start reading this essay. This is a Common App essay written by one of my students. And the student said, living in the middle of nowhere, finding opportunities to meet new people with distinct experiences from my own is a challenge. However, by taking the initiative to reach out, I've been transported to different worlds beyond my isolated neighborhood. My first significant step into this land of uncertainty was through my local hospital. There, I met doctors and nurses from across the country and patients from all walks of life. As an emergency room volunteer, I connected with the patients daily, listened to their worries and dreams, and offered solace during their suffering. So this is an introduction, as you can tell. All right. So everybody, answer my question. Are you impressed so far? It's a simple question. It's not like a difficult question at all. So are you impressed? Anyone? No one? Uh, can you hear me? No one is responding. Okay, so yeah, I need your feedback. This is a live session. Okay, so yeah, please respond to me. Okay, my questions. Okay, all right. So not yet. Okay, you're not impressed yet. Let me move on. Let me move on. Okay, so um, yeah. Okay. Okay. One story that left a profound impact on me came from a woman with a head full of salt and pepper. I don't know what that means, but let me move on. Yet, despite her boisterous personality, rah, 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 kind of a personality, what always stood out was her walking stick, one that told a story behind a small, proud red metal stamp. Growing up on a farm, surrounded by brothers, and told to abandon any aspirations for college, she broke through all expectations by joining the Marines. Her pride, bravery, and service, a small portion of her story, represented itself as a similarly small stamp bearing an eagle and the words Semper Fidelis. Since her service, she perfected her crafts, recounting her first attempts and the necessary steps to carve walking sticks of cherry or almond. She now spends her time selling them at the farmers market, supporting both her community and its seniors. In 1962, she was one of the first female Marines. In 2022, a hero, a mother, and a craftswoman. Are you impressed by this student? By now? Come on, answer my question. Are you impressed by this student? Why not? And you may say, what? This paragraph is not even about the student. Tell me that's true, right? This paragraph is not even about the student. Yeah, so that's why, how can I be impressed by whatever said, here? So it's not even about the student. So what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, move on. While she wasn't the first patient I talked to, she was the one who opened my eyes to the range of stories hidden behind every passing stranger. Her story offered a glimpse into a world of strict gender roles, a rustic simplicity, and the predetermined possibilities. A world I had never been part of, yet through her story, I stepped into both her past and present, understanding her struggles and her triumphs. In that moment, I realized the possible influence people's stories could have on mine. Okay. All right, everyone. Are you impressed by now? Are you impressed by now? Yes? No? Okay. There is almost zero chance any reasonable human being can be impressed after reading this paragraph. Okay, because nothing impressive is said, at least by about the student, right? To be reasonable. Okay, so let's move on. My journey of meeting people continued beyond the hospital as I joined another community through the Northeast Philadelphia Chinese Association. In the brick row houses of Northeast Philadelphia, I identified with the first and the second generation immigrants through personal challenges of learning Chinese and shared in the struggles of my parents' experiences of immigrating to a foreign country. Within these ostracized neighborhoods, I use my skills to help educate families hesitant to get COVID-19 vaccines, support new students during back-to-school events, and be a friend who could relate to their daily troubles. My involvement with NE Philadelphia and the NEPCA grew my library of experiences, broadening my understanding of diverse communities. By this time, um, have you seen anything very impressive about the student? You cannot deny the fact that in this paragraph, at least the student has said something about himself, about what he did. That's a boy, okay? Okay, tell me, are you impressed? No? Still not? Okay, all right. Let me move on. Yeah, each interaction, whether it was at the hospital or in NE Philadelphia, added a layer to my understanding of the human experience. They showed me how others lived their lives with bravery, honesty, and persistency. But more importantly, these stories shaped how I wanted to live mine with empathy, okay, by absorbing these stories to understand others on the deeper level, I could relate to what these people valued, believed, and hoped for. Okay. I guess it's still nothing impressive so far. Still not impressive. If you answered it no earlier, my journey from the confines of my neighborhood to a world of diverse encounters has been transformative. So you must show evidence it's transformative. Take a look. In the old days, I was like that. Now, after serving in the hospital, I'm like this. Okay. What are you like today? What are you like today? Okay, continue. As I expanded my worldview, I realized that the stories I absorbed weren't merely isolated tales, but strings woven into a web of my own narrative. These encounters became my syntax, their joys and struggles. My grandma, sorry, these encounters became my syntax, their joys and struggles, my grammar, and their lives, my vocabulary. Through these narratives, I have learned the value of connections that bind every passing stranger and a person within our communities. Regardless of their backgrounds, ideologies, or histories, this is a journey I will continue to embrace, one that encourages me to be an active participant in the stories of those around me. Okay, all right, everyone. Are you going to you're all admission officers. Are you going to admit the student? You would say, wow, such a marvelous student. Would you? No one else? Just two answers? Okay. All right. Anyway, everyone. So take a look. Um, yeah, every year, let me tell you this way, okay? Every year, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of essays like this pass through to the admission offices for real. For real. And those students, many of them lose invaluable opportunities in the process of college admissions because they cannot impress the admission officers. You notice that already, okay? So when I point them out, you begin to learn how to read now. You know how to read, okay? So what, like this person is asking, Lily is asking, what was the topic he had to write? Nobody cares, okay? Why nobody cares about the topic? Because there are 7 topics in total for coming up and essay. And question 1 and question 7 are very open. So pretty much for question 1 and question 7, you can talk about anything, everything. So that's why, you can just totally ignore question 2 to question 6. You get it? So what matters is not the top, is not what the topic you answer to, but rather, do you have a killing story to tell? That's what matters. Okay, I have an impressive story to tell. That's what matters. So from now on, listen. If anyone still like is trying to explain to you, oh, what this question means, what that question means among those 7 questions, it's just a BS. It's totally useless. Okay, don't even talk to those people. So what matters is you ask your own child to train him, to train her to do something impressive. Then you can write about something impressive about this person. Okay. Now the issue here is sometimes a student like this who has written this essay may have something impressive to say, but he didn't write it. Or, sorry, I really have nothing impressive to say. Then you're in serious trouble, obviously, right? Right. You're in serious trouble. So for this student, fortunately, it's my job. Okay. I dig into each of my students' lives to find out what's worthy, I said, we talk, let's talk. What's worthy to put in the Common App essay? What's not? And so even if they have decided that this is worthy, okay, and then begin to write. Like this afternoon, I was coaching the student from Los Angeles, and the student wrote like a total lot of things. The student has done a marvelous job in community service, but he is presenting in a really bad way, trivial things, important things, everything is like a potpourri together, then, you don't know what to emphasize, what not to emphasize. It's just a terrible essay. And I told him how to answer this question. I remember you did this. I remember you said that. How about include this over here? How about over there? And then, oh, I did. See, he's not cheating. He's not lying. He doesn't know how to like organize the materials that he, in his life. That's my job. So I helped him, just like this student. Okay, he worked with me. Draft 1, which is what you see right now. 2, 3, whatever, and then finally, this is the last draft. Let's take a look again. What the student has to write. The student says, we're here not only to cure their diseases, but also to bring peace of mind. Dr. Newsu told me while suturing a cut on a patient's hand. That's interesting. What's going on here? I have no idea. So this is sort of like a delayed lead in, it's a writing term, okay? Delayed lead. In news writing, this is very common as well, okay? You can call it hook, exactly. I met Dr. Newsu in the summer of 2021 when I became a volunteer at a local hospital's emergency room. I always imagined myself clad in the uniform, healing patients as a doctor, similar to those seen on TV shows. I would go in, diagnose, and save the day. My childish naivete soon was shattered when I met Grace. She was 74 years old, battling lung cancer and heart disease. The same lady, boy with a boisterous personality. He mentioned earlier, but this is the revised version. That's how he presented this time. I met Grace. She was 74 years old, battling lung cancer and heart disease. Having spent a considerable amount of time in the emergency room myself, I knew Grace was a frequent visitor. During one of my routine visits, I noticed her sitting alone in her wheelchair, crying. Unsure of what to say, I stopped and simply hugged her. To my amazement, she stopped crying almost immediately and said with a trembling voice, "Thank you. Thank you. You're such an angel." From that day forward, whenever I encountered Grace in the hospital, I approached her directly and told her about my day. Some days Grace cried so much that she barely noticed me, but as soon as I leaned in to speak to her, a smile broke through her teary eyes. In those instances, she always told me that I was such a wonderful person. Through these interactions, I felt I had glimpsed the essence of bringing peace to my patients' minds. Are you impressed by now, to some extent, at least? Are you? By what this student has done in counseling a patient? Anyone? Yeah, right? This is no longer about like a useless, I think, I thought, I realized the kind of things, but rather what I did to show how marvelous I am in a way. Okay, in a way. Okay, so move on. During another late shift, yeah, exactly. Show. Very important observation. Thank you. Yeah, John. During another late shift at the hospital, I heard an older man weakly calling for help in Spanish. In his dark room, I saw blood smeared across his legs and his stomach. As I reconnected his IV tube, applied pressure to his wound, and cleaned away his blood, the man's eyes became calmer. With more nurses filling the room, I felt as though my work was done. Noticing his cover sheet lying on the floor, I ran to the linen closet and brought him a new one. As I spread the news sheet across him, the man grabbed my arm, nodded, and smiled in appreciation. The warmth of a connection lingered. That night, I made myself a promise. Though I cannot cure people's diseases or save their lives yet, I'm going to put a smile on their faces when they feel low. How's that? How is that? Right? He's not a doctor. My student is not a doctor, okay? He cannot do whatever a doctor can do, but at least I can do what I am able to do, as a student. That's what he did to bring comfort. You see all the details, how he brought comfort, That's what I said. I need evidence. I need the facts about you. I don't want to see I realized. I don't care about what you have realized, okay? Because I need to see the action you have taken. Okay, so May says volunteer cannot connect the IV tube. May, let me tell you, crazy things happen to my students many times. Okay, I know many of the things a student cannot do. Sometimes only a registered nurse can do. Sometimes a nurse, a practitioner can do. But when you are in the context, a student has been there for long. He has earned a trust. I'm not talking about this student. Another student from Memphis, Tennessee. He did a lot of things that a student is not supposed to do, but the nurses allowed him to do because he was very like a proficient in doing what the nurses could do. So that's why sometimes things can happen. Okay, yeah, things can happen. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what he did. But I don't know. I hope he was not lying. Okay. Anyway, so as I continued my volunteer work in the emergency room, I tried more ways to provide assistance and comfort to my patients and colleagues. Mark, a patient, found relief in the laughter we shared while I filled 9 cups of water for him. Dennis, a senior, beamed with joy as I covered her in 5 warm blankets and transferred her away from the cold AC. Ian, a personal care assistant PCA, told me that my jokes and stories were highlights of his day. Grace, a friend now, greatly appreciated my hug after her husband's death. For my patients and colleagues, I never failed to give my best to create some difference. Every week, I walked through the emergency room doors. Nurses and PCAs were eager to tell me about their shifts. In the hallways, patients greeted me with smiles and waves to get my attention. Every time I brought happiness to a patient, I felt like I gained a deeper understanding of what Dr. Newsu meant. Patients came and went from the hospital, and I persistently took it my responsibility to make the stay a happy one. Okay, so like earlier, he told the story about each individual patient. It's kind of a slow pace, but to create a picture of how I provided like help the patients in a detailed way, in a very impressive way. But I said, you have only 650 words. You probably need to give give close-ups, but pull back your camera to present like an establishing shot, a long shot to show a big picture of it. So that's why he came back. Now this is not a big picture. This is sort of like a medium shot. You have a multiple shows, multiple cases in one single paragraph to show how marvelous I am, not only for these patients, because I want to see impact you have created, because you helped a lot of patients, not just 2. So that's why pull back to show more. That's what he did. Okay. Finally, at the end of my second term as a volunteer, I earned the Best Volunteer Award, the first of its kind presented to a junior student in this hospital. Whoa, good job. Okay, this is absolutely showing how marvelous this student is. Serving the hospital allowed me to grow my communication skills, people skills, and empathy. Okay, greatly enhanced my efficiency in a high demanding work environment while paying attention to details. And most importantly, taste the overwhelming joy of giving. Okay, so everyone, How do you like this essay this time? Yeah, right? Hey, I don't package students, okay? It's not my job to package any student, okay? So package means like, yeah, you're just awful, but I make you look outstanding. It makes no sense. You think those innovation officers are idiots? They can tell you're packaging, okay? So that's why in my life, I always truly train a student to become excellent, and so that you can write something excellent about yourself, okay? So yeah, that's what I do. And the student got into some of the best opportunities in the college application. But he got into this like anyway. So if I tell too much, you probably can't. Some of you may be able to identify the person. So I'm gonna encroach the privacy of the student. But at the end, let me just tell you, he got into really like a 1% acceptance rate, 2% acceptance rate, those ones. But eventually he decided not to go. Rather, he is going to Yale. That's his choice. Okay, so now let me just now you have got some sense when I analyze this essay, right? And then you can just tell, I guess what matters in college application essay writing? Okay, so you already got some sense right now. Let me move on and you will see more. Okay, so take a look at another example here. This is a Stanford question. Okay, this now we have to pay attention to the question itself. Okay, the Stanford community is deeply curious and driven to learn in and out of the classroom. Reflect on an idea or experience that makes you genuinely excited about learning. Okay, excited about learning. Are you listening? Do you understand the question? Too many times. Let me tell you, a student understands every word in the question, but he or she simply just doesn't understand the question. How many times? Conservatively saying, over 90%. Over 90% of the times, a student doesn't understand the question. And they say, do you have evidence? Dr. Huang was a professor, was a researcher. I speak with evidence. If I don't have evidence, you can just charge me for lying. Okay, definitely. Okay, because I teach a class, in SAT English class, I train my students to write such essays. And then, too many times, at least 90% of the times, students don't understand. They just move on to write gibberish. Okay, so that's how I know. And then sometimes even 100%. Everyone failed on the topic. How many times? Most of the, on most of the topics, many times, yeah, students have failed 100% times. Anyway, that's why I said 90% is already very conservative when I say that. Take a look at this real essay. It's not from my class. It's from a real student my student who wrote this essay in real situation. I stared blankly at the page in front of me, prove that there exists no integer between 0 and 1, the paper read. It seemed so obvious, even ridiculous. The motto of the Ross mathematics camp. Ooh, the student got into Ross. That's not easy. Like many of my students are really outstanding, okay? But writing, terrible. Many times. They often start with terrible essays. So that's why it's my job to make them become strong in writing. And so otherwise I'll have to tell him or her very honestly, sorry, it's not, good. I have to tell. So the motto of the Ross mathematics camp was think deeply about the simple things, and Ross wasn't kidding. I struggled. Let me finish. Okay, I struggled and marked trivial next to the problem. I jotted down a fake solution and handed it in to my counselor, only to receive the word redo written next to it. So I took the problem head on. I attacked it from every possible angle using every method I knew. It was surprisingly agonizing. But it was in that moment I realized that I could take nothing for granted, even the most basic of things. Perhaps the deepest discussions do come from the simplest ideas. The idea of questioning well-established facts has given me the freedom to rediscover what I have already learned, to see for myself that they are true. and the part of me that questions is the part of me that hungers for more, to explore the realm of mathematics through a different lens. I wrote a new solution to the problem, and I made it sure to leave no stone unturned. Each detail, each definition, and each logical assumption was crucial to the soundness of the proof. When my counselor reviewed it, she smiled and congratulated me. But even then, after finishing the problem, I wasn't done yet. Yes, I answered the question. Now I had to question the answer. Done. Okay, everyone, tell me, are you going to admit the student? Because, wow, the student is really outstanding. So based on that, based on this essay, are you going to admit the student? Okay, Jasmine said, no, not really. Okay, anyone else? Okay, you dare not to say anything. Okay, I like the ending though. Okay, all right. Let me ask you. Okay, I feel this whole essay could be simply summarized into one sentence. Okay, all right, Elena said. Let me ask you, folks. This essay, does this essay show the student was genuinely excited about learning something? Yes or no? Come on, answer my question. The student was excited about learning something. You don't see that. You don't see that. Rather, I see what? Agonizing. I saw agonizing, right? So are you happy? Not really, so you have to show evidence. So that's why, yeah, assets like this, as I said, go to the college admission officers by thousands every year. Okay, so that's why many of these students lose opportunities, and I can imagine many more are going to lose such opportunities. Anyway, so I helped the student, but let me show you the best essay I have ever seen that answers this question. Okay, keep in mind, when you read a question, you have to understand the question first. What is the question asking me to do? One is either idea or experience. Because this student talks about it in experience. Ross math camp. Okay, no problem. But second, genuinely excited about learning. Okay, if you don't say genuinely excited about learning, as an admission officer, I may think that, why did you learn? Because my mom told me to. My dad pushed me to. That's why I had to learn. Possible. I'm just saying possible. Okay. So, I learned because I want to win. Oh, so you learn because you want to win? You're not really interested in learning itself? Possible. Possible. That's why this question is really testing whether you truly care about learning. You learn for the sake of learning. So that's why each time before I ask my student to answer a question from a college, actually all the questions from a college, I give them written tips. Like this one, for instance. Let me give an example. This one is pretty long. I don't have time to read the whole thing, but let me read it probably like just one and two. Among Stanford's 8 application essay questions, this is the most significant, important question that you can easily distinguish a student from the crowd. If you can't, your game is over. If you can't answer this question successfully, your game is over. This question has stated clearly in and out of the classroom, seemingly suggesting that you can talk about either academic or non-academic content. However, since a few of the 8 questions allow you to talk about your non-academic aspects already, and since Stanford doesn't have a wide question, this is an ideal question for you to talk about your academic excellence. Yeah, academic excellence. Okay, so that's the first observation I tell my students. Why you need to answer this way or that way. I reason with them. Number 2, pay attention to the words idea or excellence. Experience. in this essay, you are not supposed to generically talk about your academic pursuit in the discipline or field. Rather, look, ever since I was young, I have loved the chemistry. I did a summer camp. I did in chemistry. I did a competition in chemistry. That's why I want to study chemistry in college. No, not like that. Okay, not like that. This is not the typical why us question. So that's why I said rather you should focus on an idea or an experience in the discipline or field. For instance, how you use digital media to run healthcare marketing is an idea. Okay, joining the summer program to conduct the scientific research is an experience, for instance. So talk about how much you have done and accomplished in biology or history is not quite answering the question. You need to show how you had fun, how you enjoyed when you learned this specific idea or had this experience. That's the point. And I just went on and on to talk about how you should understand the question. So once they have read, then they began to be obsessed with my written tips. They just like, oh, Dr. I love your written tips. And can you give me this? Can you give me that college's written tips? And then initially they just didn't quite appreciate because they couldn't quite understand. But the more they write essays with me, then they paid much, much more attention to these written tips because they found them so helpful. And then many of them, they still got off track. That's okay. You still got off track, okay? I guess I'm a terrible communicator, And then I said, okay, let me show you model essays from the students of mine who successfully got into this college, and then take a look how he or she presented his or her case. Yes, and too many times my student told me, I love you, Dr. Huang, because you showed me those model essays, because they are so valuable to show and to illustrate these written tips. Now I get it. Now I get it. Why you said this? Why you said that? Yeah. So I help my students from multiple angles. Finally get it? Okay, I finally got it. Okay, good. Now they will become much, much more confident when they write essays for the next college. Okay, so let me show you the best essay for answering this question. Let me show you the question one more time. The STEM community is deeply curious and driven to learn in and out of the classroom. Reflect on an idea or experience that makes you genuinely excited about learning. Like what? 3 a.m. Oh, if I'm not so excited, how come I still stayed awake, at 3 a.m.? This student has presented evidence of being excited from the very beginning to the end. If you don't believe, let me show you. 3 a.m. I finished reading 0 to 1 in one sitting. Excited. Endless questions materialized. Why was a bad plan better than no plan? What is the real definition of a scalability? I was enthralled by my first exposure to entrepreneurship beyond my previous innovations. I was enthralled. Borrowing many business technology books from the library, I furiously documented my learning. Excited about a vision setting with Elon Musk and unconventional problem-solving strategies with the field night. Applying then to the creative destruction lab at startup accelerator session, University of Calgary from Canada, I was selected with 6 others to watch a live pitch to angel investors mentors. By the end, 24 pages of my notepad was scribbled full of how valuations are determined and a reminder, excited, and a reminder to get FDA approval if my startup, beyond, startup is ever in biotech. This first ever real world experience opened my eyes to entrepreneurship beyond the books. I was hungry for more. This student obviously is talking about an idea, entrepreneurship development. I felt like a sponge thrown in an ocean at UPenn's. Excited. Okay, where? UPenn's Management and Technology Summit Institute. Did you see that? This student, I told her very clearly, I told everyone, student of mine, okay, this essay is not for you to brag, okay? Even though you do need to brag. But when you brag in a very subtle way, okay? Don't just make bragging your ultimate, like a goal, okay? So take a look. Oh yeah, you were in UPenn's MTSI? Yeah, I was there. Geez, how did you get in? Because I'm cool. Obviously, the acceptance rate for this summer program is extremely low. So to show, I'm just saying that I got in. Okay, when I was there, okay, I eagerly posed the questions, excited, to professors about the business models, product development, and new industry creation from 8 case studies and labs. The final 3 weeks felt magical. I shared my learning with others with different backgrounds, and we synthesized, built, and pitched as junior entrepreneurs. Afterwards, I subscribed to 18 different podcasts to learn entrepreneurship and failure stories. Okay, excited. While driving, what? Even while driving, you're listening. Excited about learning about these things, or ideation, advice. While showering, even in shower, she was still learning because I'm too excited, So show evidence again and again. Finally, I wanted to apply my knowledge to my first founder experience, starting AI for Youth Canada. I learned about the entrepreneurial grind, team management, and even tax report filing. Which high school student needs to know about that? But since I was too excited, I learned even that kind of thing related to entrepreneurship. How do you like it, everyone? How do you like this essay? Can you see the exuberant passion for learning entrepreneurship through this essay? What do you think? Yeah? Right? So you have to understand the question first. Then you can write something marvelous about yourself. Okay? So that is very important. I'm showing you the last one. Okay, I'm showing the last essay before I end. So this question is from UPenn. The question is asking, how will you explore community at Penn? Consider how Penn will help shape your perspective and how your experiences and perspective will help shape Penn. So this question is straightforward, very clear, okay? Double shaping. You shape me, I shape you. 2 sides. So in your essay, you have to cover both sides. Guess what? Every year, this question has been around for quite some years, okay, from UPenn. Every year, when the student began to write, he or she just forgot the question. Okay, I will write whatever I want to write. And then I ask where is the part of UPenn shaping you? Oops, I forgot. How many times? Many times. Too many to count. Okay. So that's why I'm here. I have eyes. I have eyes on you. Okay. If you forget, I cannot let you go. So that's why it is important that you answer the question, you understand the question, and don't forget the question. Let's take a look at this one. I explore, and also in every question, in every answer, you must show how outstanding you are, right? Logically, these top colleges have a very low acceptance rate. They want to accept the best of the best, and you need to show them, hey, I'm the best, accept me, admit me. So in your essay or essays, you must show something impressive to the admission officers. That's why I always say, what? Write to impress. Don't write to inform, right? I said it many times, write to impress. Don't write to inform. If you cannot impress your admission officers, they will just say, who is this guy? Get out. They will tell you immediately, right? So once they have read, you must make them feel, wow, awesome. It's going to be a huge loss for us if we don't admit the student. That's what you need to get. That's why you'd better write something to impress them, okay? So take a look at this one. I explore communities by teaching. Making personal connections while passing on my knowledge brings me joy. Therefore, I want to enroll in academically based community service, course energy education in Philadelphia schools, The course includes teaching lessons to high school areas, allowing me to interact with and explore the local community in Philadelphia. My own experience as a school leader of STEM Academy, a program that teaches STEM subjects to 8 local elementary schools, the founder of a computer science academy, a similar program, and brings the computer science to Title I, low-income middle schools in my area, and teacher with the youth hand in hand, a nonprofit that provides classes and tutoring to students in high school, will contribute to my involvement in the course. My extensive background in similar educational courses would be integral in teaching energy system to students in Philadelphia. On the other hand, Penn will shape me by providing me with the necessary outlets to relay the information I've learned. This course is a catalyst for the pursuit of my passion and a step towards my goal of becoming a TA for a computer science course. What? Your goal is not that high. I just want to become a TA. Okay. Wow. So you didn't. Why did you come to UPenn to become a TA? Can you just go somewhere else to become a TA too? Okay. You have like a legitimate reason to come to UPenn to study. That's just a terrible way to present yourself. You can tell. Plus, you may say that UPenn is like a very famous school. What can I do to shape UPenn? No, I'm nobody, you may think, right? So that's why, obviously, logically, you're supposed to use your strength. You're like a very big strength, okay, to shape UPenn in a way. So what am I good at anything? According to this essay, what I see is that this student is just busy doing things. He did a lot of things, this, that. But were you good at doing those things? The student has demonstrated no evidence at all in showing that I'm really good at this or that. As a result, how can I trust you can make a significant contributions when you come to UPenn, to shape UPenn? I cannot trust you. Get it? That's why this is the consequence of informing. Right to inform, right to tell them, let me tell you who I am. Let me tell you what I have done. They don't care who you are. They don't care what you have done. They only care, have you done something impressive? Oh, Dr. Huang has pounded this message into my skull today again and again and again. Write something impressive about yourself. Obviously, you must have done something impressive already across the high school years. Okay, get it? That's why I begin to coach my students ever since the beginning of 9th grade, because whatever you have done in high school counts. Whatever you did in middle school doesn't count in college application process. Okay, so that's why it is important you write something impressive. And you say, can you give me an example? So I gave you like a written tips every time before a student writes something. So yeah, I don't have time to read. I'm sorry. So let me just jump to the essay itself. This is from another student. Okay, let me show you a good example here. Having placed in national dance competitions, I look forward to sharing my original choreographies with the Penn Asian dance troupe at Penn. Oh, obviously, the student did homework about Penn. Not only do I hope to lead the group to compete in dance competitions, but I wish to establish a collaborative projects with nearby college dance groups, such as Drexel's Dance Ensemble and Fresh Dance. With experience in setting up a summer dance group program, I hope to propose a community service project to offer dance classes to children of underprivileged communities in Philadelphia and expand our performance opportunities in the tri-state region, beginning with periodic showcases on Locust Walk. Okay, this student absolutely has done a lot of homework about what's going on there in terms of dance on the UPenn campus. So that's why she is taking advantage of her strength in dance to propose something. I'm gonna go shape dance performances on campus. As the current editor-in-chief, I will also be sure to write for the Daily Pennsylvanian on a mission to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in journalism. I would write in the opinions section, simply the fact itself that I am an editor-in-chief. itself already shows I'm really outstanding in journalism, in writing at least. So that's why I don't need to say anything anymore. Okay, I'm good in this part, and I've done this kind of thing. So I would write in the opinion section to foster more community engagement and healthy discussions. I would propose the establishment of an advice column to help the students navigate their academic and extracurricular lives. Lastly, I will use my cinematography skills to start a new project, A Day in the Life, to showcase various athletes, artists, administrators, and professors. These are altruistic endeavors involving diverse backgrounds at Penn will ultimately selfishly expand my vision and open my mind. How do you like this one, everyone? Yeah? How do you like this in comparison to this essay? How do you like the second one? Any observations? You want to accept her immediately? Okay. Okay. All right. Any other comments? Okay. Yeah. Very well written, very well researched. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so everyone just want to make sure that you're not wasting time in my session. I don't waste any of my listeners' time in any of my seminars. Okay, so yeah, so what's the takeaway from these essays that are presented to you? The comparisons of these essays. You know, what are the takeaways? All right, so what the coming back to the going back to the topic of today's question, what matters in college applications? Okay, so takeaways. So in college application essay, in a college application essay, it's important that you understand the question. That's the fundamental request. Okay, otherwise, many students, I have seen over 90% of the times, a student is already off track. You're not answering the question, and then I'm asking for A. You gave me B. What the heck? The admission officers will think, do you understand English? Yeah. Do you really? Okay. So that's why it's important. Okay. You understand the question. Number two, every sentence should be about me. Too many times, remember? Yeah, like the first common app essay. Okay. So like this part, the student talks about blah 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 blah, that person, that lady, it's not even about me. How can you impress your admission officers when you're not even talking about yourself? This is just insane. So unfortunately, let me tell you, every student writes a lot of things about not me not me, about something else, about someone else. So that's why, no, don't write anything irrelevant to you. Every sentence, I'm not exaggerating, every sentence should be about me. Number two, okay, so even if you write about you, you may not necessarily be able to impress your admission officers, let alone not about me, right? That's bad. Okay, that's really bad. Number three, every sentence should answer the question. Okay, you understand the question and you answer the question. Okay, so make sure you don't want to just say, yeah, I do understand. I should talk about this. And then you should, oops, I forgot. Then I answered only one part of the question. Oh, yeah, that's just terrible. I know, too many students. Yeah, just answer the question in a partial way or in the wrong way. And so, yeah, that's not advisable. Okay, number four, every sentence should serve the purpose of presenting an outstanding me. That's truly important, very important. And too many students just like write to inform, and then they don't write to impress. That's a terrible mistake, and thousands and thousands of essays really truly go to the colleges just inform. Don't do that. Number five, facts matter well, while reflection is secondary and thus should be minimized. Yeah, too many students talk about, I realized, I noticed, I finally understood. Okay, those sentences are not dominantly, mostly useless because they cannot really show how outstanding you are. Yeah, think about this. I realized this, I realized that. So what? You realized, or you didn't realize. What did you do? Okay, I realized I need to give her a hug to comfort her. Did you hug her? No. So see, the actions matter. Okay, the thoughts don't matter. Number 6, you should present your excellence from different angles without massive duplication. This is something I didn't cover today. Okay, so from common app essay to supplemental essays, if a college has multiple supplemental essays, you know what? Some students would just write academics, academics again, another essay. Oh, academics again, another essay. So if you write this way, oh, common app essay, I'll write about my academics as well. What are you? Like? Nerd. You absolutely sound like a nerd. So that's why I don't want to present a nerdy image to the admission officers by duplicating things, So that's why, or if you are just like a duplicate content, duplicate, what kind of hidden message are sending to the admission officers? This kid hasn't done much, in high school years. That's why the student has recycled the content again and again. Yeah, that's a hidden message you're sending to them, meaning you're terrible. That's it. You're terrible. Okay, so that's why number 6. That's something I didn't cover, but I need to mention that. Number 7. Finally, you should make no or minimal number of mechanical mistakes. By the way, many of these essays I have gone through. So too many times parents ask me, "Are you going to help my students, my kid to correct the grammar mistakes, kind of things?" Okay, no, I said, this is the least I can do for your kid. Yeah, this is just like a least, the least important thing. But I still do it, because I teach English SAT, and I'm on top of the game, So grammar for me is like just piece of cake. But most important things I do 2 things. Number 1, I want to make sure that the student has understood the question, answer the question. Number 1, you answer the question. I want to make sure. Number 2, you're best to present yourself. Those are all on the conceptual side. So that's why those things are much, much more important when you present yourself. Okay, so yeah. No negative impact. You have to brag about yourself. If you don't brag, when are you gonna brag about yourself? So you have to. Okay, you have to. Okay, so I know I have a run out of time anyway. So I thought I would have time for questions, but if you by the way, so yeah, I told you this is sorry, I don't have time, but this is my email. If you have any question, if you want to get hold of me, you can just email me. Okay. All right. So thank you all very much for coming to my session and spend time 1 hour with me and also with Lindy and David for 2 hours. So I appreciate your time with us. Yeah. Thank you all very much. Yeah.